Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Change Your Perspective, Change Your Awareness, Change Your Life. I'm Dr. Michelina, hashtag that felon doctor, here to talk to you about fortitude. And what is fortitude? It's just courage. And what is courage? Another thing we are woefully and severely lacking in this day and age. So I love talking about courage because this is not one that I struggle with. Praise be to the Lord, because I don't struggle with courage. I have never had a hard time doing the hard thing. I've never had a hard time taking the road less traveled. Courage always requires you to have the ability to do the hard thing. And usually to do it scared, usually to do it anxious, usually to do it, courage is not the absence of fear. And you've heard that before. It's not new or original to me. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's going through and knowing you're going anyway. So you might as well buck up, soldier, here we go. So when we think about courage, fortitude, having emotional fortitude, having physical fortitude, right? Everybody's always focused on their physical strength. And it's a huge, I don't want to say it's a huge waste, but it's not terribly important in this day and age to be all that physically strong. You ain't slaying any dragons, you ain't hunting any bears, you ain't building a house with your bare hands, you ain't doing the laundry by hand, you're not cooking a meal by hand, you're not feathering a chicken. Our physical strength is the least important strength now. I'm not saying don't go to the gym. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying if you're only focused on your physical strength, you're doing yourself a disservice, because emotional strength, mental strength, intellectual strength, strength of will, strength of character, those are the kind of fortitude areas that will serve you in this day and age. We are now in a very mental time. Okay, this is a very mental time. Back in the day, joints, physical. Now everything is very mental. I'm not saying there's not a huge importance for physical labor or any of that. Certainly not. But I am saying that we live in a very mental time. The war is on your mind and your attention and your focus. And so our fortitude has to be in kind to that. And so people are not aware of that. Your courage has to be of moral courage. Has to be of emotional fortitude. Are you emotionally strong? No, most people aren't. Most people are anxious, depressed, upset, easily swayed by their feelings. Most people are not morally, emotionally, mentally strong nowadays. We kind of hit some adversity and fall over like hothouse lilies, right? And it's you ain't gonna survive if you don't have emotional fortitude. Resilience comes with fortitude. It's I can bend and not break. Resilient, fortitude. There's a strength in that. There's a strength in knowing how to maneuver, how to keep yourself as yourself, and also bob and weave with the times, right? Because it is not emotionally, mentally courageous to keep your will and never move it. That's closed-mindedness. That's not courage. And there's a big discrepancy there that people don't always realize. It's they think that if they're, I'm sticking to my guns, it means you're courageous. No, no. Now we know sometimes the courageous thing is to forgive even when you don't want to. Sometimes the courageous thing is to be the bigger person, even though you don't want to. Sometimes the courageous thing is to go in there and do it anyway, even though you would rather stay home. Sometimes the courageous thing is to say, I'm sorry. The things that really take courage are the harder things to do. Okay? And so I'll give you an example. When I was a kid, there was an adult, my friend's dad, who got in a fight with me. I'm a 13-year-old girl, by the way. This guy was a 35-year-old man, at least, maybe 40. And he was a softball coach. I was playing softball. We got into an altercation. Don't ask me how. I get into fights with 40-year-old men at 13, but I did and do still, apparently. It was fine. And the easier thing, the less courageous thing for me as a 13-year-old would have been to like badmouth him, would have been to like be bitter about it, resentful, like whatever. What I ended up doing after one of the games was going up to him, shaking his hand and being like, hey, I'm sorry, I was out of line. I don't even know if I was out of line. I'm 13, you know? But that was the more courageous thing to do. Take the humble seat. Take the low seat. It's not easy to be courageous. It's not easy to get back up after you've fallen down, right? It's not easy. Like, courage is not, you've always been flying high. That's not courage. That's not courage. That's pattern. That's routine. That's not realistic. Nothing ever just flies and doesn't land. The courage is coming back down and being in the thick of things. The real courage is like digging deep into stuff. We have so many people now who are afraid to have the hard conversations, who are afraid to look within themselves, who are afraid to acknowledge their emotions. Having been that person, I know what it's like. It's easier to be like, yeah, I'm fine. I have nothing wrong with me. Oh, you're Jesus. I didn't know. Welcome. I'm so glad that we've got a second Jesus here. You know what I mean? Like, of course you've got some shit. Like, who doesn't? Everybody has some shit. And so, and I was that person. You know, I was like, oh, I'm so self-aware. I was literally the least self-aware person ever. Got myself into a lot of trouble because I was not self-aware at all. And I'm getting more and more self-aware all the time. You're always getting more self-aware the more you dig. And you know why it takes courage? You ain't always gonna like what you see. You're not always gonna like what you find. It takes courage to be honest. It takes courage to show up and trust somebody that you don't know if you can trust. It takes courage to love. It takes courage to do all these things. And the fact is, we lack courage. Therefore, we don't have a lot of this stuff in our day and age. We lack all of these cardinal virtues, honestly. And so how do you get more courageous? Adopt an attitude that I am going through this no matter effing what. It doesn't matter what gets thrown my way. I am making it through this. I will run my race. I will get to the end. I will claim the prize. I will finish this out, whatever it is. You want to know how I had the courage to get back up and not kill myself after my life fell apart? That. I will run my race. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know how I'm supposed to be doing it. I don't know how you're ever going to use me again, God. Literally. But I will run the race because we're going through it because we've got fortitude. Doesn't matter what's thrown at us. We got fortitude. We're going through. If you can adopt that mentality, it doesn't matter. It ends up nothing that comes your way matters because you're going through it, over it, around it, under it. It doesn't matter. You're moving beyond it. And that's fortitude all day. That's fortitude all day. And so it's really easy to say. It's very hard to pull in. But if you can adopt that, it will change everything. The way you show up in your life confidently, courageously, it will change everything. It's not about my way or the highway. That's literally not courage. That's closed-mindedness. And that's rigidity. And that's not going to serve you at high levels. It's like, okay, I think I'm going to do it this way. And we'll see how it goes. It's like a loose grip, right? Think about the reins on a horse. If you pull it too tightly, you ain't never going anywhere. But if you kind of just let it relax, loose, and let the horse go where it needs to go, and then like loosely turn as you will, a lot more power there. And I like horses because they're always a sign of fortitude. They're a sign of strength. They're a sign of courage. And like, really, I think fortitude is strength plus courage. That's what it is. It's like strength plus courage equals fortitude. And if you have the emotional strength, you've got the emotional courage, you're going to have that fortitude. And so, of the 4 cardinals, I think this one's the easiest one to adopt. That might be because it comes naturally to me and the other ones don't. So you can tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think this one's the easiest to adopt. So I hope that is helpful. Love bringing this series to you guys, and I'll be bringing a new series to you tomorrow, so get ready for that. And if you like what you're seeing, subscribe, tell your friends, hit the bell, comment below, and I will see you guys on the next video.